Hello, today we are going to see metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a type of reproduction in insects. Of course, insects reproduce it by laying egg, but the egg will not change immediately into an adult or an adult of insect. Before, that means the egg will change first into other forms and then finally will develop into an adult. So such type of reproduction, we call it metamorphosis. For instance, we can see a change of egg in frog. That means the egg will change into tadpole first and finally will develop into frog. And also you can see in a butterfly, the egg will change first into caterpillar and then will change into pupa and finally will develop into an adult. So there are two types of metamorphosis. These are complete and incomplete metamorphosis. So today we will see the basic difference between complete and incomplete metamorphosis. First one is complete metamorphosis. Such type of metamorphosis has 4 stages. The first one is the egg, and then egg will change into larva, and then the larva also gradually will change into pupa, and finally it will develop into an adult stage. So there are many insects that can be reproduced by complete metamorphosis. For instance, butterfly, ants, fleas, bees, beetles, and so on. So here you can see from the picture that the complete metamorphosis has 4 stages. The first one is egg, and the egg will change into larva, and then the larva will change into pupa, and finally the pupa will develop into adult. So within this stage, there are larva and pupa stages. The larva stage not looks like the adult, completely not seems like the adult, but it is a feeding stage, movable stage, and it's a feeding stage. It can feed. But when we come to pupa, after the larva changed into pupa, the pupa will not move and will not feed, but finally it will develop into an adult. So here also you can see a picture or a cycle that indicate the cycle of complete metamorphosis. So the egg will change first into larva, and the larva will change gradually into pupa, and then finally will change into butterfly. So from this picture you can see that the larva will never looks like the adult. Okay, so the larva, but it looks like worm-like. It has a worm-like structure, and then will change into pupa, and the pupa will be covered by hard. It will covered by hard shell. After some weeks, or after some weeks, of course, the time change of this stage will depend on the type of insects. But the pupa, of course, it will covered by hard shell, and finally it will develop into an adult. It will out from the shell by just penetrating, by just breaking up the hard outer covering shell. And the second one is incomplete metamorphosis. This type of metamorphosis has 3 stages. So insect will lay first egg, and the egg will change into nymph, and finally it will develop into adult. Okay, don't forget. So there are also here many insects that can be reproduced by such type of reproduction, by such type of metamorphosis. So you can take, for instance, grasshopper, cockroaches, true bugs, termites, lice, etc. They can be reproduced by incomplete metamorphosis. So here we can see a clear picture cycle of incomplete metamorphosis. Incomplete metamorphosis is completely different from complete metamorphosis. Of course, such type of metamorphosis has 3 stages. This is also one of the one difference from complete metamorphosis, because complete metamorphosis has 4 stages. Okay, but incomplete metamorphosis has 3 stages. So the insect first will lay egg and then will change into nymph, but the nymph will not directly develop into an adult. Before it will change its skin 4 or 5 times. At least it will change its skin 4 or 5 times, and such process we call it molting. And here also you can see that the nymph looks like it's adult. Okay, the nymph looks like what? It's adult. Okay, but it doesn't have wings just like the adult one, and also it can move, it can feed. Okay, the nymph, at the nymph stage, that means insects that can be reproduced by such type of metamorphosis, at their nymph stage they can feed and they can move. Okay, they can move, but the process that the change of skin at least 4 or 5 times, we call it molting. Don't forget it. Shading of the exoskeleton of the previous life stage. That means without insects that can be reproduced using incomplete metamorphosis, without molting, they can never, or they will never, or they can't grow. Okay? So let's summarize today's lesson using this picture. Here clearly we can see the basic difference between complete and incomplete metamorphosis. The complete metamorphosis has 4 stages, but the incomplete metamorphosis has 3 stages. The larva stage of complete metamorphosis will never looks like the adult, but when we see incomplete metamorphosis, the nymph stage of the incomplete metamorphosis looks like the adult. Okay, the adult. So this is all about today's lesson. Thank you very much for watching and listening.